pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary, if we could have the reading of the call, please.
Yes. There it is. Dear Supervisor, please be advised that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors will meet at 5:30 PM on August 17th, 2026 in the county boardroom. All county board claims are due in the administration office by noon on August 4th, 2026, so they can be approved for the audit committee approval, so they can be prepared for audit committee approval.
All right, Mary, could I ask to do roll call?
Bridget Turner. Andy Parrish. Riker Todd.
Here.
Lori Severson.
Here.
Andy Todd.
Here.
Richard Anderson.
Here.
Scott Leonard.
Here.
Paul Severson.
Here.
Kevin Whalen.
Here.
John Austin.
Here.
Dawn Trug.
Here.
Robert Becker.
Here.
Renee Lyon.
Here.
John Skaug. Here. David Larson.
Here.
Kristen Hughesby. Here. Ron Johnson.
Here.
15 present.
All right, we have a quorum. All right, we're going to go move number 2. Compliance with open meeting law requirements have been met, Mary?
Yes.
Awesome, they have been met. I entertain a motion for adoption of the agenda. We have,
Second.
all right, we have Ron Johnson for the first. Who's on the second?
I'll be on the second,
All right,
Mr.
we
Chair.
have Mr. Whalen on the second. Do I have any discussion, Mr. Whalen?
Mr. Chair, I move that we amend the agenda as printed by deleting under resolutions, Resolution C1, that's the 2026-0803, authorize additional one full-time employee economic support specialist position, that we delete that from the agenda, please.
May I inquire as to why?
I'll second that first,
Yep.
okay? I second that first.
The reason it's being removed, because the data and the information to be supplied on that resolution needs to be fulfilled and correct before we present it. So I discussed it with the individuals, and we've all agreed that let's do it right, and we'll do it well next meeting. Because it's got to go before finance with some minor amendments.
Thank you.
It's accurate, but we just need to make sure we follow proper procedure on it before it's brought before the assembly.
Procedure?
Yes, it should be approved as, it's going to be presented to the final county board. It should be approved in that format with the committee, the finance and committee. We got to make sure we get it right.
So it has not yet come to exec finance?
Right.
Not in its final form. So we're just making sure we do it properly.
However, it has been through, Mr. Chair, may I speak?
Absolutely.
It's my understanding it has been through the Department of Health and Human Services Committee,
Yes, it has.
and there is an issue, and maybe it would be good to explain that. As far as funding, is that correct?
We just know it's not ready right now. I don't know specifically on the funding issue.
Go ahead, Susan. If
Susan can
I
explain
think this
that.
matter, and I certainly appreciate the discussion, I think the matter is pretty simple. It just was a mistake, and it hasn't gotten to exec finance committee yet. It needs to go to exec finance, and then it can be back here next month.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there, I guess, any concern from Health and Human Services about the delay in this position? Is there any potential loss of grant money or anything?
Go ahead, Jay.
We've been working together. This isn't unique.
Oh,
If you want to pull up.
No, actually, it was just mistakenly added to tonight's agenda. It was intended to go to
Oh, it was
exec
intended
fin-
to the previous?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
So, sorry.
all right. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor, please. What's that?
Of the amendment?
Oh,
We're voting on the amendment
Yes.
first, and then we'll go to the agenda.
so we're going to go to vote on the amendment first. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no. All right, that's carried. Now we're going to go ahead and adopt the agenda. So I need a motion to, no.
No, it's
actually, we
already
need
been
to-
moved and seconded.
Yeah, it moved
It's
and seconded.
already
Any
for
other
vote.
discussion?
Yes.
Hearing none, we're going to go ahead and, all those in favor signify by saying aye for adoption of the agenda.
Aye.
All opposed? Thanks. All opposed, say no. Carried. All right, we're going to move to number 4, approval of July 2026 session minutes. Do I have a motion on the floor?
So moved.
We have Supervisor Husby has a motion. We got a second on the floor. We have second by Supervisor Anderson. Any discussion on the minutes? All right, hearing none. All those in favor approving the July 2026 session minutes signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, signify by saying no. Carried. All right. We're going to move to number 5, appearances. I would like to ask District Attorney for a quarterly update, John Seisha. John, if you're there and you can hear me? Well-
I am and I can. Thank you very much. Can you guys hear me okay?
Absolutely. Beautiful background, by the way.
Can you guys hear? Okay. Hey, perfect. Yeah, I'm I appreciate you guys so much that I'm taking a break from my vacation to give you my quarterly update. But I'm not taking that much of a break. I'm still sitting out here on the water enjoying the sunshine. But no, thank you for the opportunity to give you my update. As many of you may be aware, it's been a very busy summer for the office. We've had 4 trials. 3 of those were multi-day trials. They've all
Hey, John, you're breaking up a lot. Can you hear me?
considerable for been able to. Okay. I can hear you now. Maybe I'll cut my video here. Okay. Is it clearer now?
Yes.
Without the video?
Yes, much better.
Any better now? Yep. Better? Up. Okay, perfect. Great. I'll continue like this. So, yeah, it's been a busy summer for the DA's office. We've had a number of multi-day trials, some very serious subject matter trials, and I'm pleased to say that we've kind of secured convictions in each of those. Last time I was before the board for the update, I suggested that we might need to be asking for some additional monies to pay experts in these trials. At this point, we're okay. We're getting kind of the bottom of the well, but we're still all right. We do have a few more trials for the end of the year. I don't think they're going to be as kind of expert heavy or as resource heavy as the preceding 4 trials were since May. So hopefully I won't have to come hat in hand to the next meeting requesting money. But yeah, we have been very busy. Christopher Penza, I think started shortly before my last quarterly update. An excellent attorney. We're very fortunate to have him. He comes to us kind of from a white collar background, which is an unusual path for an ADA to follow. But we're fortunate that he's with us, and he's really contributed a lot to the office. Not to undersell Mike, who's been doing a great job for a long time, but we really have a strong team at the DA's office at this point. Cheryl Skaug is our newest paralegal. She's really has a tremendous background as a paralegal, decades of experience. So I'm really proud of the team that we have, and the goal is just to kind of keep things going on the trajectory that they've been on for the last, since the beginning of the year, certainly, and keep promoting public safety, keep being accountable to our voters or to the population, keep doing the job. So yeah, in terms of numbers, we're pretty much status quo. We're kind of on track. We're pretty consistent. We've been pretty consistent for the last 5 years or so. I think that we're pretty much on track for a similar 2026. Although 2026 has been a busy trial year for us. Historically, when I first started, we had maybe one trial a year. Now, as I said, we've had 4 trials in the last 3 months, and I don't know that that's necessarily good or bad. I think that the goal is certainly send the message to the public that we're not, if there's something that needs to be disputed, if there's an issue that needs to be tried, we're not afraid to take it to trial. And as I said, we secure good outcomes in the trials that we've had. So I'm grateful for the good teams that we have, both on the law enforcement side and also in-house paralegals, victim witness coordinator, my other prosecutors in the office, to be able to kind of get good outcomes here. So nothing big to report other than we've been busy. That's why I'm on vacation this week, is because I just kind of wrapped up the end of my trial calendar not long ago. But hopefully we can just kind of stay on the path that we're on. But no big updates to report. No big asks of the board. But happy to answer any questions if anyone has them.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Shesha? I think we all want you to have a wonderful vacation. Thank you, John.
Well, thanks so much. We really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for your time. And as always, I'm very serious when I say that I welcome visitors in the office. If anybody wants to kind of stop in and say hello or see what we're doing or what we're working on, talk about, what we do. And that goes for members of the public too. I just encourage you to call ahead so we have time, or we can kind of carve out some time for you. But if anybody has questions or wants to see how we do the work that we do, I really welcome visitors, whether it's a member of the county board or a member of the public. So please get in contact or stop on in. We'll make time for you.
Sounds good, John. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Good night.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move over to B, Sheriff's Quarterly Update. Erica Coxland, please step on up.
All right, good evening. I'm going to start out talking about our UC chat operation we did beginning of August. Trempealeau County per capita has the second highest number of cyber tips in the state of Wisconsin, meaning people downloading child pornography. So we worked with Wisconsin Department of Justice, DCI, and Oneida County Sheriff's Office, along with the cooperation from Osseo PD, and we did a 2-day undercover operation. During that time, there were hundreds of chats going on with local people, knowingly chatting with underage children. Through that process, and I'm not going to give a lot of details because this is something we're going to continue doing in the future. We're going to be proactive with this. We did manage to get an arrest out of this. And all the overtime is covered by grants. So it cost us nothing, and it was eye-opening. So crash data. For this quarter, we had 81 car versus deer crashes, 57 crashes with property damage, 11 with injury, and then 1 fatal out on 93. So 150 total traffic crash events for this quarter. For a drone update, the Tavern League, we'll get to that resolution, but they donated money to purchase another drone. And Forensic Lab. So I'm working with the sheriffs from Jackson and Buffalo County because pooling funds makes more sense, right, than trying to fund things on our own. And we will be joining the Chippewa Valley Forensic Lab. So when we do these child predator stings and things like that, and we get evidence, instead of waiting up to a year and a half to get phones downloaded and the evidence back, we'll get them back same day, maybe 2 days. So Jackson and Buffalo then will send their phones with our forensic analyst up to the lab. So we're really excited about that. That'll be something that'll start off in 2027. So, still waiting to hear about the grant we put in that would be part of this. forensic lab joining and among other things. But even if the grant doesn't go through, those two counties have been committed to helping us fund this, so.
Erica,
Yes.
on that, if I may, Chair.
Go ahead, go ahead.
So what is this forensic lab? Just give me a little of the backstory.
Yeah. So it's a computer lab up in Eau Claire, and we would have a space there, our own computer, our own station. So what you do is most of our cases, we get a cell phone. That's the best evidence out there, right? So almost any case, we'll take a cell phone. And then we plug it in and download, forensically examine it. And then that evidence can be used in court hearings and so on, but it has to be by a trained professional, and oftentimes we have to send it to an outside lab, and that's what takes so long, because there's such a backlog. So,
Thank you.
yeah. And I'm sorry I talk so fast, so yeah, please stop me. Our jail. We're sitting between 60 and 75 inmates right now. We have 4 from Jackson, 1 from Chippewa, and 6 from the Department of Corrections, with new beds going in at the end of September. The bunks will be started to go in at that time. Our numbers are down in the jail. I have been meeting with jail staff and sheriffs from the counties that we had contracts with. We have a roadmap to get them back, so be patient with that. Running a jail is like running a business, right? So we had some changes that need to be made. Staffing. Our jail, we're 2 short, which is better than we've been in a really long time. We just did interviews 3 weeks ago, I think. We interviewed 3, and then we have 3 more coming in next Wednesday. So the 3 we did before are good. We have 3 more coming in, so out of this pool of 6, I'm very confident we can fill these last 2 positions. Our community reentry person started August 10th. She's fantastic. She's already hit the ground running, so she's going to be a great asset. And she also is able to be certified as a jailer, so she's going to do that. Deputies, we are down. We had a retirement 2 weeks ago. So we're down 2, but we interviewed 12. And out of that, we've got 6 in backgrounds. So great turnout. And experienced people too, not just fresh out of the academy. So it was a really nice change. It was nice to have people to choose from. So dispatch continues to be fully staffed. Yeah, I think that's all I have tonight.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
We had a working agreement with Buffalo County. Can you
Yes.
background me on what happened? Because we
I
were
can.
really close with Buffalo County, and I was just curious. They ended up going to Pierce County, from what I had heard. So I
Correct.
just want to know the evolution of what happened with that agreement.
Right, and it was a surprise to me when they did that as well. And they didn't break the contract, they just aren't bringing inmates here. And that is because of certain ways we do things here that they don't do in the other counties. We make it really difficult for people to bring inmates here. It's some things that other counties don't do. And I don't want to get into specifics because there's things that I'm working on. Correct. There's things that can be fixed and they need to be fixed.
So they didn't follow our protocol?
Who didn't follow? Buffalo?
Buffalo didn't follow the protocol that we have for Trempealeau County Jail. Is that what happened?
How can I describe it? The other counties where they're taking their inmates to, because they tell me, okay, yes, running a jail is like running a business.
Right.
And it's customer service, and they're getting better customer service from the other jails. So we need to fix our customer service,
Okay, thank you.
and that's my goal.
Great way to explain it. I
Okay,
appreciate that.
yeah. I just don't want to get into
No,
too
no
much here.
details. I
Okay,
just need when people say what happened to Buffalo County, coming to our
Yes.
jail, I have 10 minutes.
that is your answer, and I am working really well with now Sheriff Lane and their jail administrator as well, so.
Any other questions for Erica? Yeah, absolutely.
I was, after COVID, I know the schooling for all the police officers, nobody was even going to them, but now, after, it's 12 years since COVID or whatever, 10 years, is the population coming out of the schools getting big enough, are the classes filling up so that it takes some pressure off you trying to fill all your vacancies? Or, I heard that they're fuller now, I know they were terrible about 5-8 years ago.
Yeah, I teach part-time at the academy in Sparta, and we are doing well there. State Patrol, I know, is struggling a little bit right now with their,
Trying to fill positions.
yeah. And I think, I don't know, I think we're building a really good team here, and I think that helps to get people to apply here.
Well, it's just nice to know if the classes are full again, because that'll help you fill the spots you need to
Yeah.
fill. Yeah.
I think we're getting there. It's looking better than it was
Yeah,
before,
okay.
yes.
Any other questions for Erica? Well, Erica, thank you for doing such a
Yes,
great
thank you,
job.
guys.
Appreciate it. I think we're going to move over to C, Highway 2025 Auto Report. Neil Olson, Highway Commissioner, please step on up.
Didn't make a big presentation. You guys got our financial statement in your packets. So by statute, we are required to present to you guys. Is there any questions, I guess, first of all, from anybody on anything in it? Some of it's pretty boring.
I have a question. The letter from Baker Tilly has some language that is a little confusing to me.
Yeah,
It says management has omitted management's discussion and analysis, blah, 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 about, and it's like, we didn't follow accounting rules in the United States. Can you explain that?
Well, so Dave and I had a little bit of this conversation, is that, we follow it. However, there is issues with our transition from where we were at to the Tyler system and those things that maybe some things got left behind, or some journals and things crossed over from year to year that weren't caught up on. So, yeah, it's kind of a lengthy, I don't know. Dave and I discussed that it almost sounds a little demeaning to how it's worded, which I guess I'm not entirely sure how to take it, but I don't know if that's, everything in here is correct, I guess I would say. So maybe they had to do more work, and that was a frustration on Baker Tilly's side. I guess I don't know what the reason for some of how that's worded is.
Well, it's not clear what they did in this, because they said they didn't do an audit, right? What did we pay for this report from them?
I think a highways portion of it was around 13,000 of Baker Tilly's bill this year, 13 and change. Which, yes and no, they do and don't do the report or an official audit sometimes. They sent an employee that actually sat with our Diane for a few days to go over some of the items that were missing and corrected. And so that's another portion of a little bit of the larger side of the charges, is to have somebody on site. But that, I guess I'd have to get back to you with a better answer on officially what the reason is.
Are we moving towards Tyler's? If we get Tyler and are using it, will this type of stuff go away?
Well, the intention is, yes. And I think we're getting somewhat closer. Pam has now entered payrolls, I believe, all the way through May and possibly into June so we're starting to see all of it come together now. I think the intention was, and a little bit off subject of ours, but the intention was to get, hopefully by the end of the year, so we're entering budget, and then like next year, you'd see both sides, because our budget would all be in, and then the ins and outs would start showing up through Tyler. It'd be more real-time data.
Chair, may I?
Absolutely.
We are seeing reports out of both right now at the highway department level.
Yeah,
I mean,
and so
it's a work in progress,
Yeah,
I
and
would
it's a
say.
process of change from the AOS 400 system, and we're using a CHEMS program that the state uses. Most, I think 62 out of the 72 counties use for the highways financials. So we still track it there just to make sure that this Tyler is keeping everything corrected. Probably do that for a while, even into knowing that Tyler's working, just because it's good backup, but it is double entry. So some of these things will definitely be taken care of. Timeline, I would like to say that it would for sure be by next year, but based on making sure everybody knows and understands the full Tyler system and it's all working and usable correctly, it would be a timing thing.
Are the concerns that are noted by the audit with relationship to information that was missing or discussions, disclosures, so forth, are those things actually a result of the Tyler program, or was there more going on behind the scenes there that maybe is still even being uncovered by our new finance manager? Is anyone able to answer that?
Well, right now, there's a lot going behind the scenes. Like today, she just closed out 2025 when it comes to, so we can, everything that's being entered into 2026 can now be entered into Tyler for 2026. So there's a lot of journal entries that have to be put in at this point when it comes to going into 2026. But 2025 in Tyler has now been completely closed as of today at 3 o'clock, I think. She closed it out. So now there's a lot of catch-up entries that need to be entered into Tyler so we can start as of January 2026.
For my own curiosity, would these corrections that have been needed, these corrections that are needed, would we be in a position of getting those issues addressed and closed if we didn't have Pam in this position? Or would it have taken us longer to get there? Or kind of, what do we anticipate that might have looked like?
You know, that's really hard to say. I mean, because it didn't happen. So I'm not sure. Tyler wasn't exactly set up between even Tyler saying that when it comes to the cash reconcile, all that stuff, they're not sure why that was set up the way it was set up, because typically they don't set it up that way. So there's a lot of discussion when it comes to how Tyler was set up and rolled out, I guess I want to say. So, I mean, they're working on it. Pam's working hard on it. I know that much for sure.
Sure.
You know, she's working hours and hours on it. I mean, there's different approvals that have to happen when it comes to what level approvals that have to happen. So to try to put all this stuff together, the first step was to get 2025 done.
Sure.
And that was what the process was. And so that's why you're getting this report, because there's a lot of entries that were not correct because of, you know, the changeover and so on and so forth. So when what was that,
AS 400.
what is it? AS 400, the system, there's a lot of stuff that was entered into there for 2026. Don't quote me, 3,600 entries or something that was actually entered into that and not into Tyler for 2026. So those entries have got to be put into Tyler now. So there's just a lot of things that we have to, that Pam's working hard on to get put together so we can get everything leveled out and moving forward. But it's going to take some time, but Pam's working hard on it. She really is.
And I will say, in a process of change, a few things just to note that had happened is, for example, when you brought up approvals, there's certain thresholds that are built into Tyler, smaller dollar amounts. We do a lot of them at Highway, but Diane does a certain approval level. I do 5,000 and over. It passes on to Pam, to Stacy, to Mary. There's all these steps in it, and as we were building and growing in it, it did happen where there was mistakes made, where there might have been a double entry, there was double payments made, and then some of those reflect on some of this that happened in, you know, towards the end of the year, where all of a sudden reconciliation at a month end didn't make sense because there was a double entry or there was a missed entry. So maybe some of that's more of where they're claiming they had some of these issues and it wasn't proper. So I think we've, for the most part, that's gotten better. Highway and other departments. I guess I can't speak for everybody, but for us, I feel it's better.
I think it's just going to take some time now that we got 2025 closed. It's just going to take some time to get that 2026 caught back up again and moving forward.
I guess other than that, I just had a couple little topics of, a year ago, we had swapped the administrative department from levied cost dollar into a administrative fee, which became 4.63%. So if you guys would look at page 3 defines our operating expenses for the year were $12,344,722. So, and within that was $555,000 with $965.56 of administrative costs. That includes all kinds of things such as my vehicle is part of that expense. Anyways, there's a lot of numbers that get calculated. And if you drop that out, there was 11,788,000 and 757 left. So at 0.463%, it come out about $1,000 or 10,000 different to that. So we use it as a calculation, and then we charge all the projects. Now we charge it as a township item. Our 318, the construction projects, the bonded money that you guys have for our construction, part of that cost is through that now. So it pulled it off the levy and went into the other dollars, and other people are funding it. It helps. It's a way to support the county because it's an acceptable, from the DOT, it's an acceptable way of charging costs. So we moved that last year, so it'll look just a tiny bit different in 26s next year when we do this.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So in a nutshell, does that mean then that this cost then is an operational cost, so it's being passed on to the customer?
Yep,
Thank you.
yep. So townships, municipalities, DOT.
And what line item is that?
I guess in here, it's listed under operating expenses. On this one yet is highway administrative fees, right above radio expenses on page 3. We are listed there, and then it does have all the detailed breakdown. It has all the detailed breakdown. I'd have to find what page it is. It has those costs within it. Page 5. It shows commissioner costs, other labor of office staff, fringe benefits, the committee's per diem, the highway committee's per diem is in there, highways mileage, commissioner car expenses, our depreciation, such as my pickup that I drive, we're in the last year of depreciation. I think it's this month that's done. The buildings and grounds allocation, such as our building, every little detail that's in our office is one of these items. And then we'll compile that, come up with a new percentage for next year, and then it might change by 1/4% or something like that.
Another question, Mr. Chair?
Absolutely.
So does this mean that when you prepare your budget, that your typical administrative expense would be reduced?
So it's not really reduced, but it's moved off of an actual levied line item. So for example, a year ago, if you guys looked at the budget, highway admin was a line item, and that dollar amount was in there for all these items. Now it won't show up there because it's cost pooled and then spread out.
But you're getting reimbursed. and
We'll be reimbursed,
You're
yep.
being reimbursed now, and that's the
Yep.
difference. So really, reimbursements do offset your expenses.
Oh, yes, they're
which should
offsetting.
reduce
Yes,
your expenses.
to a point, other than they're happening, but, for example, if you guys would bond for our construction again this year, and we charge it onto that, they reduced it in one area, but it's still there because it's in the bond dollar. It's kind of like a big contractor in their bid price has administrative costs in it. It's there, but it's not in the same line item. We charge it at, so yes, it does reduce it because the towns are now funding some of it, the cities, villages. So it is, a portion of it is reduced.
Thank you.
One more question.
Absolutely, John.
You mentioned earlier that we had some double billed items or something, or double paid items. This concerns me more. You double paid, did you get the other half back then?
Yes, but that's part of where some of the entries maybe had happened just by invoice or something, and then as months got closed, if a month was closed, it carried to the next month, you might have took another month to notice it. Sometimes vendors did not cash them, yet we had written the check, but it took a little time to find all that. So yes, in the end of it all, that was all cleaned up and taken care of.
Thank you.
I guess my only other topic I thought I'd bring up is there's a lot of detailed items such as page 11 has cost analysis of all our vehicles, and it's a little hard to understand. It has a unit ID. For example, 001 is our construction foreman's truck, and that goes through labor and fringe, parts, fuels. So it'll go through the entire costing if we had to change oil, change tires, such as that on it. And then towards the last of the columns, it has the total cost for it and the total revenue generated. If you skip to page 24, I know it's a little bit different page, but on page 24, it identifies that truck 1. Truck 1 is a 2020 Ford Super Duty, and it's got Fritzy's name behind it. So if you really get bored and want to read all the details of what happens with the equipment, it's all in there. One item I brought up is we have a traffic maintenance agreement with the DOT for painting. So we paint all the way to Hudson with our paint truck. So that's truck 77, and the compressor on it's 977. So the revenue generated off of that one, I like to see a little better because it's revenue generated that's not our own projects. They come from the DOT, Buffalo County, Pepin County, Jackson County. So probably 90 to 95% of the revenue generated off of that one is from another source, which is very beneficial to us. So anyways, I don't have a lot of detail. I didn't want to bore you guys with, I could have read line for line, but if there's any other questions or anything or something you guys find, give us a holler and we'll dig into something and let you know.
Mr. Chair?
Absolutely.
So just want to follow up, during our tour, which was very informative, you showed us the asphalt plant. Is there going to be a capital plan to talk about upgrading that, or?
So
will we
that
see
has been,
this year?
when we had Mike and Steve from Government Solutions, a couple other counties had made a plan and plugged it in there in about a 10-year plan. I'm probably going to be presenting something to try and shorten that up for us. We have some issues with air emissions on the wet collector that we're using. So it'll probably try and push that a little faster. It is a little awkward. For example, our quads are about $68 an hour in revenue right now, so their replacement value is fairly fast because we run them all the time. And it seems awkward that the plant itself does not have a higher value in some of the items for the costing to help replace itself. And it is getting, we've done a lot of updates over the years. It's got a drum on it about 7, 8 years old. We did some liners in the bins, but in the scale shack of it, or in the shack part of it, all the old buttons and stuff are getting way obsolete, crazy expensive. So it's kind of pushing us towards a time frame where we're going to have to do something. Simple little buttons like here where you'd turn your thing on are $400 or $500. And, we replace them with some other regular kind of switches, but that gets to be difficult to do too. So there will be coming, I guess for all of you, I'm going to try and build a 10 to 15-year plan. I've brought it up to my committee a few times that Brett Semingson's speech on this building right here was a 50 to 70-year plan. And our highway shop is built in 1978, so we're approaching that right now with no sort of plan. And maybe I won't build it in my time, but if we have a plan in place or something for 10 to 15, 20 years out, at least somebody has something to go off of, and we started some funding process. And not only that, all of our outlining shops, they're getting, a lot of them were built or purchased 70s kind of built buildings. So they're hitting a lifetime of what do we do now situation, so. So anyways, yeah, I guess other than that, if there's not any other questions or.
Any other questions for Neil? Hearing none. Neil, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Maybe, I guess, bringing that topic up, maybe next year I'll build a little bit of a plan in long-term, and highway will know about it, obviously, but maybe I'll put something together for the county as a whole.
That'd be good.
Okay. Thanks.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I just want to add to Neil that Neil and the commissioners before him have all done an excellent job of maintaining that plant. It's a good thing to have. And they do a lot of maintenance on it every winter and to keep it up so that we don't have any major breakdowns during the summer. And we've been pretty lucky, fortunate for the last 30, 40 years. But she's starting to show her age a little, like we all are.
This year, and I don't know, everybody knows what happened to gas prices this year, but we had done our oil bids in March, and we landed about 3 weeks before all the craziness happened. And that actually pushed our mix price down almost $10 a ton this year. So some contractor dollars that I've heard recently, it kept our budget well on track for what happened this year. Those little things, like you said, though, is what it drives us, keeps us cheap. So anyways, so thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, we're going to move to Administrative Report 2027 Budget Survey Results. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Okay, you have in front of you a printed copy of some graphs. This is the online survey or paper copy that you all completed, 15 of you at least completed. And this is the data from that. So I'll just kind of go through this. Exec Finance has heard this already, and I'll go through it with you. You have some of the written responses are printed out. I gave that to you separate. I won't go through that on the screen because it's too hard to read those, but on these with the graphs, I'll touch on these. Which statement best reflects your budget philosophy? And then overwhelmingly, we have here maintain current services with minimal tax impact, followed by focus primarily on public safety and mandated services, focus primarily on infrastructure and capital needs, focus on workforce retention and employee compensation, prioritize strategic investments even if costs increase, and reducing spending wherever possible. You can see the grid there on how that laid out. Then we had a question in there, but what do you believe should be the county's highest budget priority for 2027? Highway infrastructure was the highest ranking, as well as employee recruitment and retention in higher pay, as well as economic development housing initiatives. Those were the top three.
Becky,
Yes.
we don't have the second half of the page.
Oh, dear.
We go from
Okay.
3 to 10.
Okay. Well, you'll
Does
have
everybody
to,
have
you'll
the same?
follow along on the screen.
You might want to email that out to us.
Yep,
Okay.
we'll email it
Did
out.
you keep going anyway? We'll listen.
We'll listen to it.
Okay, are you sure that those, but that doesn't have the question?
Yeah, just
Okay, didn't print both sides. All right, okay, so I'll send the data to you after, but anyway, this is, then public safety, sheriff's office, 8%, followed with 8% in economic development, parks, tourism, recreation next. County government must often balance competing priorities with limited available revenue. Please indicate your level of support for the following budget considerations and new position requests. Basically, wage adjustments to remain market competitive scored highest here. Strongly support at 26.7%, and in the support, 46.7%. So overall, you have a 70-some percent agreement with that. Increased technology investments, support strongly at 6.7%, support at 33%, neutral 60%. Additional funding for infrastructure facilities, support at 26.7%. I think that has to do probably because you've really already invested a lot into facilities. You've got that taken care of pretty well. Reduce services to minimize tax impact. There's some support for that, about 27% close to. And then reduce benefit package in order to add positions, better pay if you had to, or some support. Then we got into the position requests. Adding one deputy clerk of court was the strongest support, showing 46.7% and neutral at 46%. Adding a deputy treasurer, support at 33%. Here is strongly support land management, 20, and a 6.7 for support, so 26.7%. Parks facility was neutral or negative. Adding the human resource position and separating from county administrator was either strongly support or support at 46.7, pretty much the same as the deputy clerk. A little bit more neutrality up here in this top one with the clerk of court. And the clerk of court, and thinking about that and that need, I guess, as you think about again, You added a DA. Now you have more work coming through that court system. It's the same thing the judge has said. You're going to see that kind of progression through those offices where there's extra need for help. If all position requests cannot be funded, please rank in top of in priority. So deputy of clerk ranked highest, then treasurer, deputy treasurer, conservation, zoning in third, human resource position, and parks facilities. Moving on, there's a question there. If the county experiences limited new revenue availability, which areas should receive the highest consideration for funding? Employee wages was top, along with highway infrastructure, public safety staffing, employee benefits, health and human services, economic development, technology. Kind of we're moving down facility maintenance, capital improvements, and tax levy stabilization, minimizing tax increases. Please rank economic development in order of importance. Housing took the top, here. Which approach do you generally support when major needs arise? Most looked at 33%, a combination of both borrowing and outright pay, debt as needed. What level of importance do you place on maintaining competitive wages to recruit and retain employees? Very important and extremely important, moderately important. There's a strong showing here from the board that they place a big importance on employees and wages and benefits for employees. What level of importance do you place on maintaining competitive benefits? We just separated that out, try to get an idea about the importance of benefits. Again, stayed pretty high. And these are the last part are all questions that you have in front of you. Are there questions regarding that? I think the biggest thing coming out of that will be, we have priorities here. It comes to what will the funding look like for this year? So we've got to take levy limits and new funding that's coming forward that we can then we put all together as we develop the budget. We'll bring it back to you at the next month meeting to talk about, this is what you have, this is what you want, where are your priorities now with what you have? So we'll do a little exercise in September to walk through that.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we're going to move forward to resolutions. Joint Executive Finance Committee and Law Enforcement Committee, resolution in accepting donations to Trempealeau County Sheriff's Office, badges, K-9, search, and rescue programs.
Resolution 2026, excuse me, 0801, whereas per Wisconsin Statute 59.52 parentheses 19, a Wisconsin County Board may accept donations on behalf of the county for governmental purposes. Whereas consistent with Trempealeau County Ordinance 2.08 parentheses H, the Trempealeau County Board may accept donations made to the county consistent with an approved donations policy, and the most current Trempealeau County policy requires that donations exceeding $1,000 be approved through a specific procedure, including by resolution and by committee review. Whereas the proposed donations are as follows, with each to be specifically allocated to the Trempealeau County Sheriff's Office. Gilbert Brown Foundation, $2,000. Buffalo Trempealeau County Tavern League, $1,500. Ettrick Rod and Gun Club, $2,000. Global Finishing Solutions, $4,985. Whereas the donations are to be used for the badges /K9 /search and rescue programs. Whereas the donations have been reviewed as required by the donations policy and no known conflict of interest or prohibition was identified during the review process. Whereas that upon review and consideration of these donations, the county board finds that their acceptance will benefit the public good and will serve an appropriate governmental purpose. Now be it resolved that the Trumpealeau County Board of Supervisors shall hereby approves the receipt of these donations for the specific uses consistent with the donations themselves, which shall be deposited into account number 101-20-12-52102-462520. Be it further resolved that the Trumpealeau County staff shall take actions on these donations as it otherwise necessary to receive or effectuate their receipt. Introduced by Law Enforcement Committee, John Austin, Ron Johnson, Kristen Hughesby, Scott Leonard, Andy Parrish, and by Executive Finance Committee, Richard Anderson, Robert Becker, Paul Severson, Andy Todd, Kevin Whalen.
All right, do I have a motion on the floor to approve the resolution accepting the donations? We have first by Johnson, second by Becker. Any discussion on the
Mr. Chair?
floor? Yes, sir.
So, if there are additional donations that are received in the future, do each one of those require a resolution like this to be accepted, or is there a general policy that could be put forward?
Don't steer me wrong on this, and maybe Susan can answer that, but I believe it has to come forward as a resolution,
It
correct?
depends on the amount. Our donations policy is quite old. It needs to be updated, and the amount in that old policy is $1,000, I believe. And so anything over that has to have a resolution. Anything under that can be dealt with depending on what's in there, and I can send that to you. Down the line, my recommendation would be to update that policy. I think we talked about this in November, when we did the ordinance update, the ethics ordinance and the code of conduct, but
So Susan, is that on your general hit list of your,
It is.
of your policy
it
update?
is.
Okay.
There are several things that we need to
Yeah,
update.
good.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, I think these organizations that are sending this money to the sheriff's office is overwhelming. It's great, just super. It helps the levy, it helps the sheriff's office, it helps the community. And kudos to these organizations that's donating. I mean, you're talking, what, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, over $10,000 going to the sheriff's office. And it's been ongoing for several different years. I know Ashley Furniture has donated in the past a huge amount of money. And so I would ask that you as the chair talk to the administrator and to the sheriff and maybe send a letter if and when this passes. Thanking each organization for their contribution to this organization.
I think that's a fantastic idea. Any other comments? All right, I guess we will go ahead and take roll call. Go ahead, Mary.
Okay. Robert Becker,
Yes.
Renee Lyon,
Yes.
John Scoug,
Yes.
David Larson,
Yes.
Kristen Hughesby,
Yes.
Ron Johnson,
Yes.
Andy Parrish,
Yes.
Riker Todd,
Yes.
Lori Severson, Andy Todd,
Yes.
Richard Anderson,
Yes.
Scott Leonard,
Yes.
Paul Severson,
Yes.
Kevin Whalen,
Yes.
John Austin,
Yes.
Dawn Trug,
Yes.
16.
16-0.
Yep.
All right, we're going to move on. It passes. We're going to move on to Resolution B, Environmental Land Use Committee, Ordinance Rezone for the Town of Trempealeau. Mary, if you'd please read that.
Yep, resolution number 2026-08-2. Whereas Benjamin Schwartz, landowner slash petitioner, Trempealeau, Wisconsin, has requested the rezone of a parcel in the land of town of Trempealeau in the order to create 2 lots. Whereas the rezone is approximately 13.48 acres more or less, and whereas a public hearing was held pursuant to section 59.69 parentheses 5 of the Wisconsin statutes. And whereas the town of Trempealeau supports the rezone request, and whereas the Environment and Land Use Committee moved to rezone these parcels from transitional ag TA to residential 8 R8, and that the zoning is appropriate under the circumstances. Now be it resolved that Trempealeau County adopt the attached ordinance amending the zoning district boundaries as indicated, introduced by Environment and Land Use Committee, Tony Munson, David Larson, Randy Severson, Kevin Whalen, Riker Todd, John Scout.
All right, do I have a motion on the floor for accepting the ordinance rezone for the Town of Trempealeau?
So moved.
All right, we have the first motion by
I'll
Hughesby,
second that.
and we got the second by Scout. Any discussion? Questions? Yes, sir.
I have one question. Is this 2 residential lots then that homes will be built on? Or is this a multifamily type deal?
We got the man that can answer it.
You bet.
He's building a home himself, and he wants to section off the home area versus the rest of the property, so at this time, it's only one home.
Very good.
And actually, in R8, there would not be a multifamily dwelling allowed on R8 property.
Okay. Thank you.
I believe the town is okay with it.
Yes, they are. We got
Letter of support.
Awesome, thank you. Any other questions? All right, we're going to go ahead and take roll call. Go ahead, Mary.
Ron Johnson,
Yes.
Andy Parrish,
Yes.
Riker Todd,
Yes.
Lori Severson,
Yes.
Andy Todd,
Yes.
Richard Anderson,
Yes.
Scott Leonard,
Yes.
Paul Severson,
Yes.
Kevin Whalen,
Yes.
John Austin,
Yes.
Don Trug,
Yes.
Robert Becker,
Yes.
Renee Lyon,
Yes.
John Scow,
Yes.
David Larson,
Yes.
Kristen Hughesby,
Yes.
16-0.
All right, passes 16-0. Let's move on to C, Health and Human Services Board. Number 2, sustainable state funding for local public health departments. If I could ask you to please read that resolution.
Yes.
Thanks, Mary.
Resolution number 2026-08-04, whereas in Wisconsin, local public health departments are legally required to provide a core set of public health services under Wisconsin Statute Chapter 2.251 and Wisconsin Administrative Code Chapter DHS 140. And whereas the responsibilities of local public health departments have expanded significantly in recent years due to emerging public health threats, workforce shortages, and increasing community health needs. And whereas local public health departments rely heavily on a combination of limited state aids, categorical grants, and local property tax levy to fund these mandated services. And whereas current state funding mechanisms for public health are largely outdated, not indexed to inflation, and do not reflect the true cost of delivering foundational public health services. And whereas Wisconsin currently ranks 49th lowest in the state dollars dedicated to public health per person according to America's Health Rankings website. And whereas public health initiatives consistently deliver high returns on investments, ROI, with recent data showing a median ROI of 14.3 to 1, often saving $14 in medical and societal costs per every $1 spent. And whereas reliance on short-term restricted or competitive grant funding creates instability and limits long-term spending for local public health departments. And whereas counties bear a disproportionate share of the financial burden for providing foundational public health services, placing additional pressure on local property taxpayers. And whereas a strong and adequately funded public health system is essential to protect the health, safety, and economic stability of Wisconsin residents and communities. Now be it resolved that the Trumpealeau County Board of Supervisors supports continuing to build and retain public health infrastructure and workforce in Wisconsin, increased and flexible funding dedicated to local public health departments. And be it further resolved that such funding model should provide increased general purpose revenue, GPR, support to local public health departments, increase automatic inflationary adjustments, allow for flexible use of funds to meet local needs, and reduce reliance on short-term restricted and/or competitive grants. And be it further resolved that the Trumpealeau County Board of Supervisors recognizes public health as a core governmental function and supports sustained investment in public health services to ensure consistent service delivery across all jurisdictions throughout Wisconsin. And be it further resolved that the Trumpealeau County Board of Supervisors supports the Wisconsin Counties Association in advocating for policies that reduce the reliance on local property tax levy to fund foundational local public health services and maintain local public health workforce. And be it finally resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Governor of Wisconsin, members of Wisconsin State Legislature, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, and all Wisconsin counties. Introduced by Health and Human Services Board, Bridget Turner, Renee Lyon, Ron Johnson, Don Trug, Scott Leonard, Kimberly Bradenback, William Baxa, Scott Brown, and Karen Onstead.
All right, do I have a motion on the floor to sustainable state funding for local public health departments?
Oh, okay, I was just gonna I'll second.
Who was the first?
I was
Thank you.
going to recite the title of the
Yeah,
resolution.
no worries, no worries. We got Trug for doing the first, and we have Lyon for second. All right, any discussion on the floor? If anybody has any questions, we'll ask Jay to step on up. Any questions?
The only thought that occurred to me is if we forward it on now, should this be done after the new governor is installed? Or is there a continuity of something like that?
Jay,
Because I
if you-
fully support
yeah.
the resolution. It's just a question of timing.
I did think about that as well, and we are joining with other counties that are doing it right now across the state. So a lot of them are in our region. Health officers have been talking about this. And we actually, Mary, received a number of resolutions that had passed. I think, was it from Wood County and Clark County at least, right? And I know others are considering it right now. So, yeah, it's a good point, and it's a good question to ask, but. Yeah.
Maybe when we forward it into WCA, have them resubmit it after the election.
I think that's a really good idea, yeah, to re-forward that and bring it back to, put it on people's radar.
John, are you okay? Can I ask, what was your question? Because I didn't hear it. Just so
The question was the timing of submission. I think it's a great resolution, but is it going to fall into a lame duck session?
Got it.
We get a new governor in November.
Got it.
So timing was just the question.
Perfect, thank you. Any other questions for Jay while he's standing up there for us? Hearing none, we're going to take a roll call. Mary, if you could, please.
John Austin.
Yes.
Don Trug.
Yes.
Robert Becker.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Sorry. Renee Lyon.
Yes.
John Scouten.
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
Kristen Hughesby.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Andy Parrish.
No.
Riker Todd.
Yes.
Lori Severson.
Yes.
Andy Todd.
Yes.
Richard Anderson.
Yes.
Scott Leonard.
Yes.
Paul Severson.
Yes.
Kevin Whalen.
Yes.
15 to 1.
All right, 15-1, it passes. All right, we're going to move over to Resolution D, Executive Finance Committee, transferring committee oversight of District Attorney's Office. Mary, will you please read the resolution?
Yep. Resolution number 2026-08-05. Whereas the Trempealeau County District Attorney's Office performs duties and exercises authority established by the Wisconsin Constitution and Wisconsin statutes. And whereas the District Attorney's Office is currently assigned to the Law Enforcement Committee for purposes of county committee oversight. And whereas recent discussion concerning the appropriate committee assignment of the District Attorney's Office has provided the county board an appropriate opportunity to review whether the current organizational structure remains the best functional fit for the office. And whereas the county board has determined that the county's lawful oversight of the District Attorney's Office is primarily administrative, personnel, budgetary, and policy-related, and is therefore more appropriately aligned with the responsibilities of the Executive Finance Committee. And whereas transferring committee oversight of the District Attorney's Office to the Executive Finance Committee will clarify the county's organizational structure and provide greater consistency in administrative and financial oversight. And whereas nothing in this resolution is intended to interfere with the limit or limit the independent constitutional, statutory authority, duties, discretion, or prosecutorial decision-making of the elected district attorney. Be it further resolved that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors hereby transfers committee oversight of the Trempealeau County District Attorney's Office from the Law Enforcement Committee to the Executive Finance Committee. Be it further resolved that the Executive Finance Committee shall assume those administrative, personnel, budgetary, and policy oversight responsibilities concerning the District Attorney's Office that are within the lawful authority of the County Board and its committees. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall not be construed to grant the Executive Finance Committee authority over prosecutorial decisions, charging decisions, case management, legal strategy, or any other matter committed by law to the district attorney. Be it further resolved that all applicable county policies, committee assignments, organizational documents, and other county records shall be updated as necessary to reflect the transfer of committee oversight established by this resolution. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon adoption. Introduced by Executive Finance Committee, Andy Todd, Richard Anderson, Robert Becker, Paul Severson, Kevin Whalen.
Do I have a motion on the floor for transferring committee oversight of District Attorney's Office from Law Enforcement Committee to Exec Finance Committee?
I'll make that a motion.
The motion, we have first motion by Mr. Anderson.
I'll second that motion.
We have second motion by Mr. Whalen. Any discussion?
I have an amendment. Can I add an amendment?
You can.
Okay. At the end of the first whereas, where it says law enforcement to the Executive Finance Committee, I would like to add and oversight of the Executive Finance Committee to the Highway Department. Or to the Highway Committee.
Can you explain that?
Well, I mean, sure, if we're moving things around. I mean, if we're moving
I'm
things
sorry, I
around.
can't discuss it, I'm sorry. Do I have a second on the floor? I'm sorry.
I'll second it for discussion.
All right, we have a first by Mr. Paris. We have a second by Mr. Hassan. John, yes. In discussion.
Yeah, I think I see where Andy's going. I guess my question is, what problem are we trying to solve? Usually when you make structural changes, there's a very good reason. And so far, I was at the Exec Finance Committee, I did not hear a good reason. So I'm asking you, explain it, please.
I can explain it. Just like I did on Exec Finance Committee when you were there. It's the idea when it comes to looking at the, if you look at the resolution, when it basically says the idea of trying to eliminate overspending. So talking to John was there on the Exec Finance Committee, the ones that weren't there, basically, I don't know if he's ever been to a law enforcement, maybe a couple times he's been to a law enforcement committee. When it comes to that. So we got we're paying for setting up a law enforcement committee for let's say a resolution that goes through when it has most of it deals with administration. And then you got to go to the Exec Finance Committee, then you got to go to the full board. Well, the processes are longer, cost more money, and there's nothing when it comes to law-wise that we need to discuss it in law enforcement. We discussed possibly we could, if there's something that's coming up that needs to be present to the law enforcement committee, we can refer that to the law enforcement committee. But to try to save money, save taxpayer money, save the time, moving that from law enforcement to the executive finance committee.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would like to comment as a member of the Law Enforcement Committee and now as a member of Executive Finance. As much as we were there at the Law Enforcement Committee, most of the material that we dealt with did not deal specifically with the DA. And for efficiency, as far as to get it passed and go through one committee, it would be it'd be not only economical, but much more effective as far as government to only have to answer to the executive and the finance committee with what questions have come up before. Because when I was on for the one term, only 2 years, John appeared one time. And at that one-time appearance, it wasn't something that was beyond administration and finance. It wasn't related to law enforcement, which, as you understand, we want them working together for the law enforcement part of it, but it wasn't what was needed at that committee meeting.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. True.
I still think that begs the question then of what problem are we trying to solve? If the district attorney hasn't had issues with the current structure, then I'm not sure why we would make a change. And it feels a little bit like we're saying that the committee level is not for the purpose of administration, and that really is a purpose of the committee level, is to work on policy and to approve various things at a committee level before it comes to exec finance. So honestly, this feels a lot like a slippery slope to me. So what's the next committee that we're going to decide doesn't need to come to a committee before it goes to finance and executive committee? I don't see the reasoning why this one particular thing would get pulled out. And then if it does, why wouldn't we do the same thing for the rest of the committees?
Mr. Chair? Oh, I'm sorry, did you want to answer
No,
her?
no, go ahead.
I have a couple questions. feeding off Ms. Trug's comment about things that are addressed in committee. Policy addressed in law enforcement. I actually think the Law Enforcement Committee might be the more appropriate committee to talk about policy with the district attorney than exec and finance. When it comes to budget, asking for example, drones, asking for certain things, asking for something special. I think the Law Enforcement Committee is going to be a much more appropriate venue for the district attorney to discuss those things than exec and finance. Yes, it's going to come to exec and finance. All departments have that issue. You know, I've been director of a department, and it's not unusual to go to your standing committee and then exec and then to full board. That is not unusual. Another question I have is, why was this not approved by the Law Enforcement Committee?
And in fact, may I speak?
Yeah, absolutely.
And in fact, according to the Exec Finance Committee, Mr. Seisha was made aware of this change, but wasn't involved in the conversation related to the decision, and hasn't really had a time to really digest that either. Now, what's the urgency?
I'm not saying there's an, I'm not saying
Well,
there's
we had a
an
special meeting today
or-
for it.
Just so we can get it through or from exec finance to here. But there's other things that we had in that meeting. We just added that to that meeting.
Well, I understood that this was the reason for the meeting, and the other things actually got added on as a dovetail since you were having a special meeting.
I suppose, I mean, I guess you can look
So
at it
now
that
we're
way.
spending money on a special meeting, but we want to eliminate money for processes to streamline.
Which
Well-
the efficiency argument doesn't hold either, because if it's that infrequent where he actually comes to the law enforcement, there's no savings really.
True. And again, I would reiterate that I really think law enforcement should have been involved in this. It just seems a little suspect. It makes you wonder, why is this happening and so quickly under these circumstances? And I will say again, I think that whatever the district attorney wants to discuss in committee, the Law Enforcement Committee is going to be much better equipped to deal with those issues. And they'll have more knowledge and background because they're dealing with law enforcement through the Sheriff's Department. Sheriff's Department and District Attorney do have a lot of connectivity. It just seems to make sense for the District Attorney to remain under law enforcement.
Go ahead.
Two different things. Dawn, I think that if my memory serves me correct, the reason that we had the executive finance meeting earlier initially was to talk about action on conduct ethics complaint form. No. It wasn't. I thought it was. No, I was secondary. Then I'm wrong. But can we, how do we do this? Can we table this or till next month and maybe put a little more, get more insight into this and discuss it for next month?
I think what we need to do is we need to vote on the amendment first.
Okay.
Yeah, my amendment would essentially make Mr. Austin chair. Because I'm shifting executive finance, that complete oversight, to the highway department, to the highway committee. That's what we're voting on. Since we're gonna mess around with committees, I thought I'd play too.
Any other discussion?
I didn't realize that's what I second. I was wondering what it had to do with highway in the first place, you know. But I seconded just for the sake of discussion, and I think we got into a discussion that I wasn't expecting. But to me, I agree with everyone that I think it should remain with law enforcement and then go to exec finance.
Mr. Chair, we should be discussing the amendment that Mr. Parrish brought up.
Yes. Yes.
That's what the discussion should be pertaining to, not to the main motion, but the amendment that's on the floor.
And
That
the
is
amendment
correct.
was to move it to highway committee.
Mr. Chair, would it be appropriate for me to request a motion to postpone indefinitely while it's on the floor for discussion?
We have to vote on this.
Right now is the
That's
amendment.
not what I'm understanding. I
When
might
the
be
main motion comes back
misunderstanding
up, that would
the
be proper.
policy. I would ask.
You have to do the amendment first.
I would ask our corporation counsel to answer this question, thank you. I'm reading policy from
Okay, I want
Wisconsin counties.
to, call order here. We don't want to discuss between each other because that causes hostility and
I
we don't.
agree.
We don't want that.
I agree, and that's
So
why
I
I'd
appreciate that.
I'd like to request that
awesome.
this be,
So
I'm not
Susan,
engaging
could
in
you
the
please
argument
answer
here.
that?
So it depends on how the motion is, and I'm looking at that basic information that should be in front of each one of you. And I'm looking at number 3, so this essentially depends on what the motion is. And if I look at number 3, and I go up to number 3, it does say that an amendment can be amended. And so now that becomes fun, because we gotta go out when we go back in, right?
Yep.
And so we got to be mindful of that. So if there's amendment to the amendment, we need to do with the amendment to the amendment first, and then the amendment, and then the main motion. But depending on what the board or each supervisor wants to do, it's possible, excuse me, to have an amendment.
Can we vote on the amendment and then introduce additional amendments?
Yes, you can do that as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we're going to vote on the amendment that Mr. Parrish brought forward. Something to do with the highway.
That was to move the highway.
To move the
Mr.
highway.
Mr. Chairman, it moves. Let me read it again so everyone's clear what we're voting on. But it will say, now be it resolved that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors hereby transfers committee oversight of the Trempealeau County District Attorney's Office from the Law Enforcement Committee to Executive Finance Committee, and oversight of the Executive Finance Committee to the Highway Committee. That's my amendment.
That's what his amendment was.
And we had a second through John, and that's what we're voting on now. So should we do a
And
roll?
I request a roll call vote.
I believe we should do a roll call vote.
We are voting on just the
Amendment to transfer to the highway.
Richard Anderson,
No.
Scott Leonard,
No.
Paul Severson,
No.
Kevin Whalen,
No.
John Austin,
No.
Dawn True,
No.
Robert Becker,
No.
Renee Lyon,
No.
John Skaug,
No.
David Larson,
No.
Kristen Hughesby,
No.
Ron Johnson,
No.
Andy Parrish,
I'm going to vote no, just now that we have set a precedent that we don't mess around with committee structures as a board, 15 to nothing.
We're just
Voting no.
answering the question. Thank you.
Riker Todd,
No.
Lori Severson,
No.
Andy Todd,
No.
16 to 0.
16 to 0.
The amendment failed.
Amendment failed. All right. Any other discussion on moving the original motion?
And again, I apologize, but I'm not completely clear on when I can make this motion, and that's why I wanted Corporation Counsel to answer this question. From what I'm seeing in this policy from 2024, that this kind of a motion is introduced when the item is on the floor. And it's on the floor after a motion is made, correct? So my motion would be, if I can, to postpone indefinitely.
Yes, that is, if you wanted the issue to be done, that is what the motion is, and you can do it now.
I'll second that.
So we got a first by Lyons made a motion and a second by Mr. Parrish.
I'll
To
third it.
postpone indefinitely. Any discussion?
Yes.
We don't,
Go ahead.
there's no discussion on this, Mr. Chair.
Oh, wait. Postpone, there's discussion. Table, there's not.
Okay.
I
Can we
guess
just get that on the record, Susan?
Yes, again, if we want to turn to the same document, now I'm on number 2, can it to be debated? Yes, so.
Go ahead.
I would just ask that Corporation Counsel tells me what that means again. Postpone indefinitely.
You know, that and tabling are fun, and they're often confused, and sometimes one means one and the intent is the other. Here, it means that the discussion is done on this issue, and it's done forever.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a first and a second. Any other discussion?
My question is, down the road, does that affect other county board members, say 10, 20 years from now?
No.
Okay.
No, there are other times where we may want to talk about committees. We may want to talk about committee structures. Later on today, I'm going to talk about other parts of Chapter 2. It's going to depend on what is the specific agenda item that is before the committee or the board here.
Doesn't it kind of, in a new election, it could be brought up again?
I've heard that. I'm not sure where exactly that is coming from because there can be variations where things can be brought back again. The agenda item is what we are voting on today.
Yes.
I'm going back to the Andy Phillips counsel as far as on parliamentary law, that a postpone indefinitely removes it from this course of 2 years. So John would be correct that when a new board would be elected, that's what Andy had stated when we had the chairs forum. I asked this specific question, and it would back you, John, that it postponed indefinitely would last for the term of your office for this session. So when the session was over, then the topic, the resolution could come back up again.
Chair, if I may, just as a clarification,
Yes,
that helps provide me with some information, but again, it's tied to the agenda item.
Yes, it is.
All right, any other discussion? All right, I suggest we do a roll call vote, please, Mary. And the roll call is to suspend, postpone it indefinitely.
John Skaug,
Yes.
David Larson,
Yes.
Kristen Hughesby,
Yes.
Ron Johnson,
Yes.
Andy Parrish,
Yes.
Riker Todd,
No.
Lori Severson,
Yes.
Andy Todd,
No.
Richard Anderson,
No.
Scott Leonard,
No.
Paul Severson,
No.
Kevin Whalen,
No.
John Austin,
Yes.
Don Trug,
Yes.
Robert Becker,
No.
Renee Lyon,
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 9 to 7.
And that's-
Passes. Yep.
Okay, 9 to 7, that passes. All right, we're going to move on to Resolution E, Audit Committee, Claims of Members. If I could please ask you to read that, Mary.
Resolution number 2026-08-06. Whereas the Audit Committee has audited the following claims and recommend that they be allowed as follows. John Austin, $384.40. Richard Anderson, $878.58. Robert Becker, $355.30. Kristen Hughesby, $422. Ron Johnson, $462.60. David Larson, $692.50. Scott Leonard, $497.80. Renee Lyon, $405. Andy Parrish, $832. Lori Severson, 0. John Skaug, $670. Paul Severson, $521.40. Andy Todd, $1,521.28. Riker Todd, $592.05. Don Trug, 0. Bridget Turner, $404.20. Kevin Whalen, $1,092. Grand total per diem, $7,820. Total expenses, $1,911.11. Grand total, $9,731.11. Now be it resolved that the claims be allowed as shown, introduced by Audit Committee, Andy Todd, Kevin Whalen, John Austin.
Do I have a motion on the floor for the claims of the members?
Motion to approve.
We got John Austin as the first. Any second?
Lori, thank
Oh,
you.
Lori. Lori Severson is the second.
Got it.
Any discussion? All right, we'll take a roll call vote, Mary, please.
All right, Paul Severson,
Yes.
Kevin Whalen,
Yes.
John Austin,
Yes.
Don Trug,
Yes.
Robert Becker,
Yes.
Renee Lyon.
Yes.
John Skaug.
Yes.
David Larson,
Yes.
Kristen Hughesby,
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Andy Parrish,
Yes.
Riker Todd.
Yes.
Lori Severson. Andy Todd.
Yes.
Richard Anderson.
Yes.
Scott Leonard.
Yes.
16-0.
All right, that passes 16-0. All right, we're going to go to number 7, announcement, appointments, elections, appointment to the Board of Adjustments, alternate Kellen Nelson, ASIO. If you could please read. Oh,
Yeah. This is made to Rebecca Gluen, Administrator. Administrator Gluen, as directed by David Larson, Chair of Environment and Land Use Committee, I am forwarding the following name for your consideration for an alternate board member appointment to the Trumpealeau County Board of Adjustment. Kellen Nelson from ASIO. The person mentioned above has agreed to serve on the board and will replace Charlotte Everson's position, which expired June 30th of 2026. It is our request that this appointment be made so that confirmation can be made no later than August 17th, 2026 County Board meeting. Should you have any questions or need further information, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Mark Carlson, Zoning Director.
do I have a motion? Oh, I got a motion here from Ron Johnson. Any second?
Second.
Second by John Austin. Any discussion? Thoughts? Anything? All right. I guess we'll move forward and say all in favor for this appointment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no. All right, carried. Committee reports from from Exec Finance Committee, Trempealeau County Government Center 2025 audit update. I will move on that if you guys are okay with it. We discussed a little bit of this during when Neil was up here speaking. There's a lot to the changeover when it comes to from where we were at to the Tyler system, beginning for closing out 2025 with the Tyler system. The audit went long, but we did make the timeline of July 29th, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken. It was a long process, but we made it all happen amongst everybody here at Trempealeau County. So kudos to everybody here when it comes to the finance department, administration office, and everybody involved in trying to make that happen. With that said, besides what we've already talked about, like I said, with Neil here, I mean, I guess I'm open up to anybody who wants to say anything. I had a thing that I was going to read to you, but we already discussed it with Neil. So any questions when it comes to that? Dawn, it looks like you are ready to talk.
Yeah, I always got questions, don't I?
Go ahead.
I guess I'm not understanding why we don't have the audit report.
Everybody should have the audit report, right?
The highway audit report. Am I missing something? No?
Why isn't it in the packet?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Why isn't it in the packet? In fact, it's sort of a general frustration. We get handouts. Anything that gets presented here, to me, should be in the packet. Otherwise, it's a surprise.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
when are the auditors coming to do their final exit conference with the board?
That's a good question. I believe.
Because that's when the rest of the board usually gets the financials. So I mean, Mary's got them, I know.
Yeah, I think we had
The
somebody.
exec finance got them, and we met with Sheehan.
Right.
But then Sheehan comes to county board and presents the full audit.
Not for all, it was just for exec finance.
Oh, when it comes to the packets?
Yeah.
Okay.
From the reports from the auditor.
Yeah, so
But I have them electronically, I do have them.
this is more of the
Well, that-
idea of,
Even if it's electronic, we would still all get it in our packets. So whenever Sheehan comes to do the final exit
right,
to the whole board,
and I can
it
definitely
probably
reach
would
out
be
to
in that
Sheehan.
packet, so.
Yeah, but why do we have to wait till the final? Why can't we see it now?
And actually, Mary does have it, then she could send it out to all
Well,
of
if
us.
it appears on the agenda, I agree with Dawn. It should be in our packet.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I guess that's what confused me. I saw that this was on the agenda, but we didn't have the audit provided to us, so that led me to believe that we weren't having our typical closeout audit. Otherwise, I guess I'm unsure why it's on the agenda, other than maybe to give kudos to all of the people that put in the work to do it. But as long as she is coming, do we know that that is still the plan?
You know, I can reach out to Vanessa. I've been going to have a meeting here with Vanessa and Sheann here after September, or September 1st range that I'll be talking. So I will discuss that with her. Absolutely. We'll bring it back.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Didn't I thought they said the day we had them here, that they were gonna come and give it to the whole board in September.
They did tell us that.
They did tell us that, so they will be
Exec
here in
Finance.
In September, yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought
they
I heard,
said
but I didn't want
They
to,
thought they'd have everything done totally by then.
I didn't want to
Because
speak
there's
out
a
of
couple
turn.
things even they were still finishing up when we had our last
They
exec
haven't done the
finance.
single audit. I
Yeah,
don't think it's
and then they'll
completed.
explain to everybody.
Where we're at.
That's what they had said, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll bring
But
it back in
I kinda agree,
September.
everybody should get that.
Yes.
How much is it?
Are we gonna go back where we get our monthly report? I think it's 2 months in a row. We haven't got a monthly report on financials.
That's going to be some time.
Pam did
I
have.
think Pam was working on
she-
that too, and I thought she had a couple of months done already.
She actually, yeah, she gave the exec finance finally an updated sheet of the finances, because we said we'd want them every month. And Pam did say she finally got there after all, with that whole Tyler fiasco. It's finally doing what it's supposed to do. And so she thinks she's almost there. They had a couple more things, even the auditor said that. They had to tie up a couple loose ends, and then they could start giving us the report
Yep, and there's a lot of
quarterly
entries.
or monthly.
There's a lot of entries that need to be entered now that 2025 is closed out in the Tyler. So like I said, there's a lot of things that were, entered in the old system for 2026 that should have been entered in the new system of Tyler of 2025, new system for 2026. So there's a lot of entries that have to happen. Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Has
Chair.
Was this put online for the public to see yet? Okay, so I'm not voting on something the public never had a chance to weigh in on.
There's
don't
no
think we're
vote.
voting.
There's no vote, just update.
Yeah, there's just an up,
No.
no, this is just an update, yeah.
But
Yeah,
I would
go-
suggest that Mary send it out, since we do have it electronically. Just send it
Absolutely.
out to us so we can. at
Yep,
least-
Mary said absolutely, it'll be
The
done.
rest of us, I should say the rest of you, because the exec finance already did get it.
Yes.
But the rest of the board gets it and has time to go through and
For our September
formulate
meeting.
questions.
Yeah,
Yep.
go ahead. Dawn.
Yeah, and I would just tail on what John said. I think there's a good reason why we haven't gotten the monthly updates like we usually do, because of all of the things. But I would also suggest that Pam probably doesn't even know that we used to get them, because she's new and hasn't had that opportunity.
She
So-
does know.
She
does.
does.
And she had a really nice
She showed
start.
me a couple of them
But she knows it
already,
comes to the
so-
full board, not just,
Yes.
Right, it
Okay.
goes to the full board.
okay, perfect.
100%.
If I could.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I think I'd like to just touch on what Supervisor Trug, you had asked about previous, on talking about the impact of a finance manager, eventually a finance director that we talked about, right? And so these have been a lot of conversations at the Exec Finance Committee, but not here at the full board. But I had brought forward data showing that our audit costs have been very high in 22, 23, 24 that I have records I've shared, as well as in 25. 26 is going to blow that out of the water because of all the cleanup. But even previous, we don't have someone at that level. We didn't. We had a wonderful person overseeing our finances that kept everything in its place and organized, but we didn't have a person that's an auditor. And so we will save a significant amount of money right off the bat because of having someone in that level here. So the cost of a person of that caliber, with that education and that experience, will save. Besides that, there's just so much risk. This is not entirely because of Tyler. It is because we had a changeover in a lot of areas of people that had a lot of experience. Our succession plan was to keep the financials in the clerk's office. That doesn't work, and counties have moved away from that. And I showed the data, at the exec finance on that as well for that purpose and showing that's not a good plan. And in most counties, out of the 72, I believe there are only 5 that still have it in the clerk's office. And most counties have a finance director because you need someone to oversee your finances. We don't have someone in that caliber level, other than Pam here, that would be able to do all of what she's done right now. Baker Tilly is in agreement. They have shared that as well. That report is serious. We will have the state questioning us at this point because of the seriousness of that. And I don't think that they shared that as much as what they should, but that's a serious report. In the lack of oversight that we had over there. So I just want you as a board to understand the importance of our finances and making sure that there is good, solid, and we talked to, and I brought that forward and talking about businesses here within your own county that agree in saying that you should have a finance director. So as you go forward, I hope you consider to continue to think of that, and it's for the better of your county, your constituents, and making sure that the finances are protected here.
Mr. Chair, if I could comment?
Go ahead. We got to try to keep it to the audit, because that's what's on the.
Okay, well,
please.
it's not about the audit.
We got to keep it to the audit, because that's what's on the.
Well, it's actually about the audit's evaluation of our financial status. So I think it's related, and it
Okay.
basically is.
Go ahead.
When we did budget last year, there was a lot of discussion about financial manager, financial director. And I think the decision was made to go with the financial manager for financial, budgetary reasons. And I remember hearing a few people say that maybe we need the director next year, that we look at the director next year. So it's my understanding that this was to be a natural progression, and this was based on the audit report that was submitted last year and discussed at length. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah, we got to try to stick it to the audit update, please.
Okay,
Go ahead.
And I believe mine is related as well. But I think also bringing consistency to all the departments may have caused some of the troubles with the audit as well, because as we're building consistency throughout the county government center, we'll see some of that improve as well. Is that a fair statement?
I think we're going to see a lot of that improve as all the departments understand and learn how Tyler works. And
Not even Tyler, I mean, just general practice.
Right, yeah,
And
and
the
it's all about the
consistency.
idea of being put into Tyler.
Correct.
And we have I want to stress this like big time. We do have great finance people here. And when it comes to that, Stacy has been awesome. She's been here 29 years. So I don't want to take from that, because when it comes to a financial director, Pam, for say, we're putting names out here. We don't know. Nobody knows. To your question earlier, but if Pam wasn't here, could have this happened? We don't know, because we didn't try Stacy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to try to answer questions on a situation where we don't know until we try, kind of a thing. So we have a lot of good people here. We got to give them credit moving forward, and go that direction is where I stand. So hopefully, Dawn, that answers a little bit of your question of why, or when it comes to moving forward, of if it wasn't for her, could we be here? When you asked that. Kind of how I understood that.
Sort of.
Okay.
Just one more comment, and
Yes,
I'll be
go
done.
ahead.
I just think it's important to note that this is not the first year that we've had an audit that calls into question finance practices. So while I don't want to put anyone under the bus, that is certainly not my intention. I know everyone works really hard and does the best that they can within the knowledge that they have, and that's kudos to everyone. But this is not the first audit. In fact, it's probably, as long as I've been here, we've been getting audits that have had concern about a variety of different things. So we can't underscore enough the importance of that recommendation and those reports that have been provided to us in previous years either. So we may not be able to say what could have happened, but we have an experience of what has been happening that I think has resulted in a cumulative result here.
Yeah, I believe our audits, if I'm not mistaken, Paul, you could maybe help me with this one a little bit when it comes to our audits. We have a process that's a little different here than other counties, and that's why it does cost us a little more. We was talking a little bit about, there was something, I wish I could top of my head think of what it was, that I know Vanessa brought up, that there was an addition that why we had to spend a little more money on audits because of some process we have or something.
Most of the audit, if you went back and looked at the audits, what actually was the audit expense, they weren't the 169 or the whatever.
Yeah, from last year.
It's all that extra help that the auditors gave. You know, they came down and did little seminars for different departments and stuff like that. They actually did our actual Schedule A report that's due in May to the state. They actually do that. One thing that I always had them do also was that we would give them the budget, and then they would formulate or create the report that goes into the paper to be published. Now, Pam says she did that wherever she was, so maybe that's one thing that will be taken back to the county or whatever. But a lot of the extra stuff was extra help that they did, and I mean, they did a lot, especially in this last year.
Yeah, this
They
year.
did a lot.
Go ahead.
And wasn't it that they weren't coding it right as well in 2025? That's why we ran into the problems with 2025, because the department heads didn't get their budgets in on time, or they were incorrect or something like that. Wasn't there?
No.
I don't
there's
think that.
questions
but
about that? And
I was going to say a lot of the entries that Baker Tilly is having to do is that, I'm going to use one example anyway, and I know this would be big. Money that came in January or February, that was a revenue for for 2025. That money was put into an account that actually wasn't there anymore when Tyler came in. So all of that those were sitting out there in limbo or some place. So they got a lot of entries of money that came into the county that was for the last year, and it didn't get accounted in Tyler. That was a big thing right there. Oh, is that what oh, I'm sorry, Scott, then I answered your question.
No, that wasn't so. No, that was.
Yes,
that
but
was
that.
accurate. I was trying to get on.
Yes. And I'm sure there was the same thing with some batches of checks that were written that probably were accounts payable, so it was supposed to go back to last year. That kind of went out in that limbo also. And so the auditors found all that, and now you said it was 3,600
Yeah,
entries that they've
3,600
got to
entries.
get
For 2020.
into Tyler.
For
that were
2026.
For 25.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair, would it be helpful, I'm just asking, what I heard from the audit report was that we spent $169,000 or something like that, and that was way out of whack. And that Tyler full implementation would recoup most of that and get us back into a normal expense. So is there some communication, newsletter article, letter from the board to say how important it is to really dig in and understand and use Tyler to its fullest extent? Because it's going to save the county money.
Yeah, I think that's the direction we want to go when it comes, not necessarily a letter, but just to get it done so we can, Pam's working hard on that right now, just to get everything put in like it should be put in and everything set up. Like I said, she had to put down the system today so we can start on 2026 and now move forward. And next month, she has to take down the system again to do some other things that she has to change up with Tyler because that wasn't set up correctly. So she's going to do that again. So when it comes to cash and things like that, so she knows what direction we need to go. We just need to get there.
I'm just wondering if we can help with a little push. maybe everybody widely understands this, but, you know, if you put it into real dollars, hey, we're at 170K, we could get it down to 25K or whatever it was, that could have an impact.
That would be nice to get down that far. I don't quite think we're going to get it that far, but you know.
That wasn't the county.
It was.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so,
That wasn't.
yeah.
I would also
Go
say
ahead,
that
Paul.
we should check, because I don't remember anymore. We were on a 5-year contract with Baker Tilly. I don't know what year we're in right now. If it's
Okay.
like 3 or 4, or if it's the 5th. Because if you find that anyway, it should be in Mary's office
Yeah.
someplace.
Where'd you put it?
Yeah.
It was right in my drawer, right here. Okay, but anyway, that had the contract that said how much the audit was for each year, because they bid it. It was bid out. And so they had the dollar figure, and I don't remember what year we're in. I don't. I'm sorry.
All right, I think we beat this up enough. I think we'll move on to community reports, discussion, possible action on the statement of economic interest. And I believe that goes to, this is Susan Fisher.
It does go to me. I am going to share my screen, and I apologize ahead of time I will try not to make you motion sick, but I want to share something with you so you can understand parts of our ordinance.
May I ask a question? I don't know if this matters or not, but in the agenda, it says discussion possible action on statement of economic interest. And I think what we're talking about right now is statement of, is it really economic interest or is it conflict of interest?
It's really both. So if I can talk about both of them in one, I have a presentation and I'll try to keep it short. I know we're at the near end of it. But you have two forms in front of you, and they are both public records. One is the draft complaint form. One is a conflict of interest and statement of economic interest and financial disclosure. And so there's two forms. And before we get too far, I want you to take a look at the ordinance that I have up. And I'm gonna go down, and I apologize if this takes me a second because I have a couple different screens in front of me, but you can see where it is. This is 2.058, and I will come back to this in just a second. But there's a provision in here that is something that we need to deal with. And I will, again, circle back, but if you take a look at number 5, where it says review and update county board rules during the odd numbered years prior to elections, that means that we can't have any discussions about any of these things unless we essentially suspend those rules and so forth. And I don't think that's great. I'm going to be pretty frank about that, and I'm going to put it, circle back to it. But this is what our ordinance is. This has been there for a while. I checked in with both the prior corporation counsel as well as Attorney Phillips. There's not a legal reason. This was a policy reason years ago. And so I'd like to get back to this discussion that we had in November. We are going to need to suspend that. So, and I also, before I get to this, I sent you guys the donations policy. I found that. I sent it out. That was from 2019, but we need to update it. 2019 doesn't sound like that long ago, but it is something that is old enough that we need to address it. Plus, as I discussed last year, there's some process issues with it. So with that, I'm going to start from this, and if I have to do it from, oh, there we go. Okay. So last November, we talked about the conflict of interest. That's when we went through the code of conduct. That's when we did the ethics form. Before that, we had nothing. And so we need to start talking about next steps here. We need to dig into several parts to this. I also shared via email a recommendation that we start getting into our model board rules. Really, what I mean to say is the Wisconsin Counties Association's model board rules, and we update our own rules with that. And it goes back to that 2.05 that we'll need to look at that again. The donations policy came up frequently. I've talked about this to multiple individuals as well as committees. We need to update our ordinance. And so with today, I'm going to ask that we adopt some form of what's in front of you and that we suspend that 2.05 section that I just shared with you. I already discussed this. This was something we started in November. This was actually something that I expressly discussed at Exec Finance in November. However, we need to bring it back and keep working on it. What laws apply? There are a whole bunch. There is Wisconsin Statute 1959 that was expressly incorporated into our Code of Ethics as well. The following public records, open meetings law were also incorporated. And depending on the issue, it's possible that Chapter 946, subchapter 2 could apply. That is part of the criminal code. That's not through us as for the county board, but that is still possible. I've already mentioned this. We adopted our code of conduct, which is specific to you as the county board and the citizen members and other members of committees, as well as our code of ethics, which is 2.07, and that entails staff, supervisors, and other elected officials, excepting those that are state. And just as an aside, since I mentioned public records, this is just a friendly reminder. Please continue to use all of your county email accounts. Within the public records law, there's a broad definition of record. Lots of things can be records. We go through this every day. What is a record? What's not a record? Emails are records. And it is your responsibility as county board supervisors to maintain records of what you do. So this is just an easy way to make sure that it is kept maintained for you and you don't have to work so hard should you get a records request. As I had just discussed, there are multiple laws. Sometimes one law applies, sometimes multiple applies, sometimes it depends on who it is. You know, I'm an attorney. I am also subject to my own professional guidelines. That goes across the county. Social workers have their own. Other professional organizations have their own. You are also subject to the county board rules, which expressly is 2.02, although it entails 2.04 as well as 2.07. So I discussed mentioned the conflict of interest form. It's in front of you. It's also over the next couple of slides as well. This form is something that I'm going to ask that it is done annually. I'm also going to eventually ask that we update our ordinance to better address it, although it's arguably part of our ordinance, but it's not expressly part of our ordinance. This is something that's commonly done across the state. Lots of counties who have ethics code, and as we talked about it last year, we were one of the latter ones that didn't have an ethics code. But this is, again, this is very, very common. The reason why we need to do it is right in there. It's in the form itself. This form, while we're talking about it now, I also wanted to give you enough that should you look at it next January, you have something to go with. Of course, you can always ask us questions, but the reason is because we need to identify actual conflicts of interest, what might be potential conflicts of interest, and then if there's something else that's out there, we need to figure out what it is and how to prevent it. And so it's just that vetting formula. And it's going to depend on the person that actually discloses the form. There are two parts of this form. There's a brief explanation. We talk about what is a conflict of interest. There's some examples of what is acceptable, what's not acceptable. This form is required to be completed to the best of your knowledge. Department heads would also be part of this, just to be clear. I'm going to be completing this as well. It is to go to Corporation Counsel's office. It does not ask for any confidential information. I do not want it. I want a truthful and accurate statement, but I do not want account numbers or anything like that. Like any document, I cannot guarantee where the form will go after I receive it. The second part is the actual statement. For this, if the board chooses to adopt it, it requires that this form is completed by all members of this body as well as department heads by September 30th. Afterwards, it'd be no later than January 30th of every year. And there's a provision regarding elected officials too, or those who are going through elections. It tells you where it goes to our office. It does expressly require that anybody who's completing this form reads the Code of Conduct, reads the Code of Ethics, as well as Wisconsin Statute 1959 to make sure or to better ensure that somebody is understanding the form. If you have questions, always you can ask. This is something to be completed to the best of your knowledge, as I already stated, and if there's a change during the reporting period, and that happens, that's life. Just because there is a conflict doesn't mean there's a criminal response to it or a criminal effect. But if there's a change, you're required to update the form and provide it to Corporation Counsel. And so the questions are there. They're fairly straightforward. They reflect back at our ordinance. I'm not sure if there are any questions there regarding that, and I jumped ahead, so I apologize. But if there, I think there's a question by Supervisor Parrish.
So tonight we tried to move the DA's office to the Executive Finance Committee, and all of a sudden we've grown an ethical conscience to fill out a disclosure form, and we're going to open up complaint forms with no thought at all to it, like what's the blackout period for elections? I mean, can we just table this for a month so we can try to figure out what's not being told to us right now?
So I appreciate the comment. It's fairly straightforward. You would find this across the state.
But I haven't. It's the first time we have it. So
First time we have it.
Right.
But I can tell you the county that I came from, we had it. We had to do it every year.
May I?
Yep.
Have worked in healthcare my entire career and in leadership roles, and have been asked to fill out a conflict of interest form for all of that time. And I always report a potential conflict of interest just by virtue of being
And reviewing that, going to the next form. I do want to put this out there, and I think this is important. If you think someone has a conflict or you have a conflict, don't assume that it's an actual conflict. Ask questions, get the information, realize that there's a difference between a potential conflict where there might be things to do, which I will talk about in a moment, and an actual conflict. Just essentially learn more about what's going on. So what can you do? The first thing you can do, and I think it was already mentioned, is abstain. If you think that there's a conflict, if you know there's a conflict, abstention is available, which is a formal choice not to cast a vote on a conflictual issue or refrain from otherwise acting. This is a discretionary, the reasoning behind your abstention is discretionary. You are not required to explain it. You might be asked that question. You're not required to provide an answer. You can just abstain, just simply as that. What I do recommend, and there's a little bit of, I will recommend one versus the other. Do not participate though. Formally abstain from it, and this is where there's the biggest probably variance between some attorneys. Leave the room, just so it's really clear you have left the room when the applicable agenda item is called. I also note there is a specific provision under 1959 that allows officials and staff to ask for ethics opinions. The requester, the identity of that requester is confidential. That is one of the few exceptions to the public records law. And so if there's a need for an ethics opinion, there's also another way to obtain that. The request does need to be in writing. There is a complaint process. This came up, and I think it's already been discussed. It came up after the Exec Finance Committee meeting earlier this month. There was a request for one, so this complaint form was drafted because that request came up. It is specific to our ordinance. It's not specific to any other process within the county. It is just to 2.07. You can include complaints under the Code of Conduct as well as Chapter 19. It does require a written complaint. It needs to be signed. It needs to be signed by somebody with firsthand knowledge of whatever the alleged conduct is with sufficient detail. And again, firsthand knowledge means you are the witness to it.
Is this, sorry,
Yeah.
if I may.
Go ahead.
Is this for employees only, or is it for if somebody is receiving a county service, a citizen, they could file a complaint through this form also?
So that's a good question. It's a very good question. So this is for an ethics complaint. So if there is a complaint, that's going to involve employees. So it could be an employee. It also could be a supervisor. It could be a citizen member or so forth.
Okay.
So not a general complaint. It's not an HR complaint. It's not a customer service complaint. It is specific to 2.07.
Oh.
And I would also recommend looking at 2.07 because this procedure is all the way through there. This is something that we discussed last November. Again, it's just something that we're following up on. So that everybody is aware, as I mentioned, there's a procedural provision within 2.07 where it goes to, a copy does go to the person who is accused, and the burden of proof is on the complainant. And that's all consistent with our ordinance. That was what was voted on last year. There is a general complaint form in front of you. The only significant difference is that it says it's signed and sworn, and our particular ordinance does not require the swearing. And that is up to you whether you want that in there or not, but it still requires the signature.
I think the question bears asking for everybody. There's questions about the ethics board. Who is that? Who's the chair? Where does that meet?
That's a good question. So last year when we went through it, and I'll see if I can find it, it's in 2.07. The ethics board is the exec finance board. So that was the decision at the time. You know, down the line, if you guys want to change that, you can. There's also a provision if there is a conflict within the ethics board. So.
Maybe to clarify for everyone too, the ethics committee, so as part of the exec finance committee, but they don't meet unless there is a complaint.
That's
They don't
correct. This would be a
address any.
specific process and so forth.
I think it's just a little misleading when we say we have a committee. We do,
Oh.
but they don't meet with any regularity.
Right. To clarify and maybe to more fully answer your question, it would not meet until there was a complaint received.
Question.
Yes, go ahead.
So would Corporation Counsel be a part of that group as well?
Under the current ordinance, excepting if there's any conflict of interest in there, we are required to provide legal advice to the ethics board.
Yeah, I would think it would be important for Corporation Counsel to be a very active member of that group. Thank you.
And I can switch to that screen if you want.
Go ahead, Andy.
How far back do these complaints go? I stole a kid's milk in kindergarten. Is that going to come up, or?
Oh, that's a fair question too. And I'm going through, so here's the ethics code. And it's, you know, it's something we talked about in April, but it's something that's easy to be forgotten too. This has not been the first discussion, but it's not a pretty discussion. So if we go through, you know, there are lots of definitions in here. That's what I'm going through very slowly here. There's a number of things that we discussed about conflicts of interest that we've articulated. We also talk about the disclosure of confidential information. The donations policy is in there, but we do need to update it. There's some political activities in there, statutes incorporated by reference. I talked about the advisory opinion. Here's the ethics board. There's the discussion on the creation and scope, the composition and term. There's the discussion about the conflicts that I just mentioned. Let's see. And then there's the complaint process. And just as I stated, all complaints need to be in writing. The complaint needs to provide sufficient detail. It needs to provide the contact information, address, the specific provision of what is being violated, the actual facts. It must be signed and dated. As I said, that's a little different in here. We can change it if you want. This is a form that can be changed. It does have a provision that if you omit something that is required, that it can be dismissed without prejudice, which means it can be brought back again. This is where I believe Supervisor Parrish's question is, time limitations. No action may be taken under this section on any complaint filed more than 1 year after the alleged violation occurred. So it goes back 1 year. And then if you keep going through here, and I don't know how much we want to because it's getting late, there are other provisions and ways that it goes through. So I would ask that as I started off, that I believe actually it's already happened, Supervisor Whalen suspended it. I would ask that these two be adopted. We can certainly work on Chapter 2. That's fine. I think we need to work on Chapter 2. But I do think we need to start doing this.
I'd like to move to approve the conflict of interest and statement of economic interest and financial disclosure process, as well as the ethics complaint process as presented by Corporation Counsel.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a first by Supervisor Trug, and second by Mr. Whalen. Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Susan, who's the appeals committee appointed by? If a member is found guilty of an ethics violation, where do we appeal?
There isn't a current appeal process through that. You could always look and see if, depending on what it is.
And the blackout period that pretty much all ethics committees have before an election is what?
So what exactly are you getting at?
So I'm getting at that this is just not thought out. Like, there's no appeals process. There's no blackout period for an election. I mean, I can file these all day long, and I will.
So I would recommend taking a look. Your questions are fair, but I would take a look at the actual code and go to the end where it does talk about the next steps. So there are processes there. If there is a criminal complaint, of course, that's going to go to the DA's office.
Right.
And
Okay.
if there is an ethics violation and it's actually truthful, should it wait for a specific period?
Any other questions on the floor? All right, we're going to go ahead and take a roll call. Mary, could you please take a roll call?
Andy Parrish.
Too many mics on?
No.
Okay. Riker Todd.
Yes.
Lori Severson.
Yes.
Andy Todd.
Yes.
Richard Anderson.
Yes.
Scott Leonard.
Yes.
Paul Severson.
Yes.
Kevin Whalen.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yes.
Don True.
Yes.
Robert Becker.
Yes.
Renee Lyon.
Yes.
John Skaug.
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
Kristen Hughesby.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
15-1 passes.
It passes. We're going to move on. That we covered B and C. We're going to move on to 9, correspondence. There, I believe, we have some thank you letters from the Strum Public Library for the summer library program for kids. And they will be here to pass around if you want to take a look at them. All the kids have done them, so they're kind of cute, because I got to take a look at them, so.
There you go.
Yeah, you said one each way.
Yes,
Oh, you, absolutely we can.
Oh, those are fun.
Did we support all the libraries?
Yes, yep. At 100%, yep. All right, with that said, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 7:41 PM.